Welcome to the talk. The title is A Neutral Compromise, Re-election in Contested States. The United States is in a great crisis. We have seen many alleged voting frauds. The credibility of the entire U.S. legal system is at stake. That puts a lot of pressure on U.S. government officials. We have seen hostile reaction forced election officials into hiding. December 11th, 2020, the Supreme Court voted 7-2, rejected Texas and other states' challenge of the result in contested states. December 21st, William Barr, the chief of the U.S. Department of Justice, stated there's no basis for federal government to seize voting machines. Now let's look at the psychology and brain science, which I'm really interested in computational modeling. Human brains are intrinsically self-motivated, driven by self-interest, typically in conflict with justice. Let's look at a book by Marvin Lerner and Susan Clayton titled Justice and Self-Interest, Two Fundamental Motives that are typically in conflict. The authors state that justice sometimes takes priority in a person's brain. This sometimes is likely when the person is under overwhelming public scrutiny. Basically, if you act in a way that is in conflict with public's perception of justice, then the great pressure amounts. And there is also a great personal reward, personal, not necessarily public, all right? It's the rewards to persons that makes decision versus great sufferings. For example, if a person's decision will lead to a great personal reward, then we'll take the decision that leads to reward. And the outcome has little uncertainty. A person will not make a decision because uncertainty is high. And there's no other foreseeable alternatives. For example, if a judge can make no decision, then the judge will choose no decision. But look at the current crisis. All the aspects do not seem to fit. So I would suggest to the Congress to study those aspects to consider what I like to suggest in the following. The compromise is neutral in the sense that the voters or the judges don't have to face their personal danger, because there is a great divide, about 50-50 in the United States. So this compromise is neutral. The contested states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, should conduct a re-election. The re-election is for only the president position, conducted during a Congress-designated re-election date, and conducted by a two-party, doubly verified manual counting. Each contested state should guarantee both parties volunteers to serve as re-election staffers and watchers in order to maintain fairness and contain the re-election cost. The Congress provides the fund for this re-election. I'd like to explain a little bit. I call neutral because there is a huge divide between the Republican side and the Democrat side, and about 50% of population on each side. We don't know exactly which side has significant lead. This one did not state anybody or any side committed wrongdoing. And if you think that's the result it should be, let's give voters a second chance to demonstrate at the equal footing. That election only for president position because on the ballot we have seen other positions, but in order to reduce the cost, we only consider the president position. So the ballot is very simple and easier to make. There should be a Congress designated election date so that there's no leeway for which state to delay the re-election, and Congress can control the re-election date. But this is the second time election must be fair. I would suggest the two parties send their volunteers. They are not paid in order to contain the cost of re-election. Some people said that this election is very expensive, and I don't think so. If we ask volunteers to serve the re-election, and Congress should have sufficient funds for this election. Thank you very much, and I hope the Congress can consider.